Hi guys, so welcome back. So till now we had seen certain components of our application in which we had created our interface. Now this is a time to insert values to our interface. So for inserting a value, we know what is the make use of local variables. Earlier we used to have functions such as with and load. You just your today's assignment is to go and search what is the difference between with and load. Okay, just go and search. And today we will be exploring the further components of local variables. So local variables are those things in which with each and every interaction the value gets updated. With each and every interaction with the interface, the value gets updated. So today we are going to make use of such local variables here. As you can have a look here, I had done everything is null. Let me try to insert the customer name, which is C name. Customer number is 123456789 We can also provide validations here. Type of food as like apple, and fruit selected is small. So you can have a look here. Till now it is this, but for the price we had made our decision. Okay, so we will pass the decision here. Decision also comes under the rule inputs, so we will pass it rule bang fs fruit price takes the parameters which we had given, so you can just copy paste from here. The best practice which you do as a developers, we need to give semicolon. Fruit we can pass local bang fruit name, and similar fashion we can give it size, and we will pass local bang fruit size here. So we had passed these parameters here. Now let's try to do something, and let's have our apple instead of avocado, and let's have small instead of let's have big instead of small. So you can have a look at the price changes rapidly, and we can have a find here. Selected fruit is avocado of big, which makes it of 33. Okay, but let's go and look at the app store, our fruit store. Here everything is null. Why it is null? Because we had passed this value into local variable, but we haven't passed this value to the rule input. So to pass a value from local variable, which helps in interacting with interface with each and every reaction, to update that value we would require a function named as a bank save. So we can save when we want to save. With each click of save, we want that value to be inserted there. So let's just go there, because here it's changes happening in the real time, and we are working on the real application. So what we will do here, instead of using rming save button, we will just make use of curly braces here, and we will pass all the values here. Okay, so let's just pass this value by putting comma. We will make use of a bank save. Once we had used a bank save, we have two components, which is target value to be saved and value. We had given as button as null, because you can have a look here, our button is null, so we will be passing that value of the button into our ri bank. So we will make use of ri save ri bank button into from local, the value which need to be passed local bank button. Okay, so this is our first part. Then we have type of fruit. We will be passing a bank save ri bank fruit store dot type of fruit from local bank fruit name. Similar, we will pass a bank save ri bank fruit store dot fruit size, which is our type of fruit, from local bank fruit size. Similar, we had two more objects here, which is user store user and the time at which the order was executed. So for this thing, we would require a store user. And now to find like these things, we will make use of a rule input task. To open any default rule input, just copy and paste this code from here to new tab, and just erase all the things, because we would require a dummy rule input or dummy expression rule. We will just make use of design slash rule, and here comes our dummy expression rule. Okay, so we are here. Now we want to find the store user. The store, if you want to find a store user, so what we can do, we can make use of a function user, and user will give us what, the username and property. So username we can use a logged in user, and like which property we want. If you want any property, then you can find it here, that text user of the property to be determined, first name, last name, email, or anything which you want to find. If you want to find, you can just type here email, and it would be displayed there. But in today's case, we will be using the f name or the first name. You can just copy paste from here, Paste it here and just hit on the test tool. Once we are hit on the test tool, we will find the name. So we will just copy this paste and pasting it to the here part. But where? What we need to do with this is we need to send it to store user. So we will just send a bank save as ri bank f store dot store user from, we will pass it value from here, and same thing we will be passing this value from a bank save ri bank f store dot time of order from now. So you can have a look here, we had passed certain things from here. Okay, now let's get back here and try to submit it. So once we had submitted this, we can have just a second, uh, type of, oh, we have type of food and type of food, both are there. No, we want one to be so fruit selected should be there. Fruit they should not be it should be fruit selected, and here should be type of fruit, which name should be type of fruit. Okay, now let's try to hit enter. Let's try to submit it. So okay, as soon as we had submitted, we had this thing. Now we have price, we forgot to enter the price, so we will just make use of a bank save similar fashion ri bank f store dot price, and we will be passing this value from local bank price. Okay, now let's just click on the submit part. So once we are submitted, you can find every detail here. But what we want a confirmatory message. We want a confirmatory message when we just click on this submit part. So for that, what we can do, where is it? We have our primary buttons, okay, and we have our button widget, which is our submit part. So you can find every detail here. We want a confirmatory message, so we can do it confirm message as, are you sure you want to submit? That's all. We will just ask a confirmatory message in similar fashion. For the cancel, it's okay, but we can also validate it. Okay, are you sure you want to cancel? And that's all. Now let's just test this rule. When you click, it's asking me, are you want to submit or not? When I click on OK, nothing happened. When I cancel, when I clicked on yes, then button came to false. And here, when I clicked on yes, button came to, what is this happening? Let me just go back here and find value is true, submit is true. Okay, let me validate it false and just try to enter the value from submit. Why this value is not working? Submit. Okay, okay. Okay, so I need to pass here arriving button. Okay, now let me just have a look here by submitting it. Yeah, so now it's submitted. So let me just save the form and load this part and find each and every details from here. So we have our every detail is with us. Yeah, so that's all. Now let's try to insert this value into our db. So to insert this value into our db, we would be requiring to have our data store. So let's go to our data store. data store entity. Okay, let's just click on the create part. So once we had clicked on the create part, let's just save this values. So now we are done with our interface parts. Let's just click on the entity, and in the entity we can find this entity from here, which is our fs fs underscore fruit store. You can find it from here into your data type, and you can just select. It's better to just copy paste it from here because we have now single one. Okay, let's just save, and now let's just verify this entity. Once we had clicked on verify this entity, it will give us an error like this, like no matching table found. Why it is showing an error? Because actually there is no table like this into our database, so we need to insert the table into our database. So we can do two things: either we can download this ddl script and insert there, or we can just save and publish it once more time so that it will be first pushed there. So now we had saved and published. Once we had clicked on save and publish here, now this entity is into our data store. If you want to find like where is this table, you can just go to the console. From here you can go to cloud database. Once you're in the cloud database, just a second, it's taking time to load. It is a basically connected dbms system which is here. We had already told you this part. We will go to the tables, and in tables we can find our fs fruitster here. So you can find our customer id, customer name, customer number, type of fruit, fruit selected, price, what is the store user, and what was the time at the order of the execution. So that's all. Now we had this table into our db, but we want to insert this value into our db. So first thing which we will do, which we will be doing, is making a constant of this part of this entity. Let's make a constant of this entity. Okay, to make a constant we will just go to constants part, and what we will be doing, we will just clicking on the constant, then taking, what is it, fruit store cons. You can write down any name which you want. We have our data store entity, and which is our data table, which it is our fs dsc. And here you can find all your tables related to that data store entity. Okay, so now just click on the create part. Once we had hit the create part, our table would be our constant would be created. So now our constant is created, which is pointing out to this table. Okay, so now what we will do, we have our data store here, which is verified. Green mark should be there. Data store is verified, and we have our interface ready with the values. Now let's just go and create our process model. So to create a process model, we will just go to our process model folder which we had created, and provide a security, because process models were the only thing which doesn't inherit their security from their parent model. But with their release, they are giving like objects in which already it is there. Let us click on the process model and create. To insert values, to insert a value into a process, to insert a value into db, we have the best way to use it as process model. In process model we can use it from either from a start process, or either we can make use of the user interface task. Okay, so we will be in this process model, we will be making use of a start process. Let's just click on the save. So once we had clicked on the save part, a process model will open. Let me try to open in a new window. I have no idea why it is taking this much time. Let us go to our application food store and try to open it from there. Okay, and try to open this process model from here. So we have this process model in front of us. Process model looks like this part. So we have a process model here. Now what we'll be doing, we need to insert the value. So first we will make use of a start process. To make start process, we just click on this process start form. We have our process variables. We just need to pass our form here. Our form name is fs underscore to show suit components. As soon as we clicked on enter yes, then all the components should be mapped automatically. Like we have our fruit store and we have a button, and also we have process variables are mapped and which parameterized is yes. Okay. Now the first part when we open or do any process model is to check the deadlines, alerts, and data management. For the deadlines, we will make it for a, like you can make it all based upon your business requirement, but for the business sake, for my sake application, it's just 15 minutes. Nothing apart from that. Okay, then in the alerts, we need mostly we need to pass it to a send of particular group users. So I will send it to fs1. I will just pass it to fs administrators. And for the data management, it's your homework to find a difference between archival and deletion, but for here I will be using the archive process for 7 days. Okay, and that's all. My process platform is ready in front of me, but it is not fine. So I will make use of an XOR gate here. You can find all the gateways here. Okay, so my gate is here. So once I am here, what I need to do, if a user presses the submit button, it need to be here. If it presses the cancel button, it means it doesn't want to upload anything, so it will go to the end node and the process will just terminate from there. And now if he clicks on yes, then what I need to do, I need to just pass this value into our data store entity, which is to write the value in data store entity. So I am just writing this data store here. So once it is here, I will just make use of these lines and align the values here. Just do it. Okay, so that's all to be done. Now let's just pass this. Let's just now let's what we will do, we will just name it task. Okay, so this would be when the user is going to say no or cancel, and when the user is saying to yes, or when the user is saying to submit a button. Okay, when the user is going to submit the button, so then this will occur. Now remember, we will make use of right to data store entity, because this is a full course for beginners, so we are not going to take the advanced stuff here. That's all. Now remember, we had made a constant. You can pass those values here in two ways. Either you can make or you can select that data. You can select that CDT or entity, or you can pass that constant here. Constant is recommended, or constant is very helpful because you don't need to find anything. If you have a plenty of tables, then how many tables you will you search? So it's better to make a constant because it makes a lot of tasks easier. You can go to data store entity here. You can find this button here. Once you click here, you can find all the data stores which are here, but and find your table from there. So like mine is food store, so I can find my table here. Okay, I can select this table from here, and that would work for me. And also there is a different way that you can make use of constant which you had placed here by using cons bang fs. Okay, and this will also make the same way because it is also a data store entry constant. Okay, and there is no value to be saved. Now let's make a new input, and here we'll be saying our fs values. Type, what type it would be? It would be of fs underscore fruit. So because this is a type which we had created earlier, type would be our stored into our fruit store, and save into would be our fruit store only. So that's fine for us. And the output, you can store value if you want, if not it will also work to our fruit store, that's fine. Okay, now let's just click on OK and try to insert this value here. Let me check the XOR gate also. If we had done it, we have no condition here, so it will give an error. Let's just pass this value here, which is our process variable, because process variables have scope all over the process models. TV bang button is true. Okay, if this condition satisfies, or if this condition passes, then we are going to go to our latitude entity, else we are going to our end node, and that's fine with us. Now let's just validate this process model. This button will help us to validate whether there is an error in the process model or not. This is the most simple and the basic process model application to write data store and to write or insert a value into our data store. We have some complex things also there, like what need to happen, but for this part, we are focusing on this thing only. Now, first let's save it, okay, and then we will publish it. So once our process model is published, we can find our process model version here. So when published, when each and every process model is there, documentation is also made, which you can find the documentation here. You can find a documentation of the process model which you had made. Okay, so you can find each and every step what is happening. You can find it here. But now let's start to debug our process model, and we will be going to our. It is here. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, let's just open our task, or let's just go to our tempo part. Yeah, let's just go to our tempo part, and from here we can have a look here about our task. Okay, so let's just to start this task, what you need to do, you just need to debug this task. Okay, for debugging we will just make on the control and D. Let me just a second. Yeah, so we are here. So what we can do is, we have our process model, we have our this process model ready with us. Okay, so you can find here we have this our process model ready in front of us. So now to debug this process model, we will just press the control D, and when as soon as we press the control D, a new screen will open in front of us. So we just need to enter the customer name and just enter the customer number and the type of fruit which he want. Let's say he want apple, and the variety of fruit he want. Let's say he want medium. So which makes an apple of 20. So he need to pay a price of 20. Let's just click on the submit part, and let's okay, yes. As soon as I hit clicked on submit part, the value will be inserted into my DB. Now value is inserted into the DB.